So I'm Joe.
And I'm Maisie.
Hi guys, how's it going? So I'm Joe.
And I'm Maisie.
And we have decided that we want to start doing a new kind of video blog every 2 weeks. So Maisie, as some of you will know, doesn't live in Bristol. She comes down every other week to spend with me and her siblings and the rest of the family. And we thought it would be nice, because we're really into film and games and series and all that kind of stuff, to do film reviews. But we didn't just want to do new films coming out. We will do some new films coming out. So what we decided to do was... What did we decide to do?
So you'll choose a film that I haven't watched and I'll choose a film that you haven't watched, and then we'll show them to each other and see what each of us think.
Yeah, so there we go. So that's what we're going to do. Over the course of each 2 weeks, we're going to pick a film each. I'm then going to get hold of those films and we're going to watch them and we're going to review them. So we started last night with watching Armageddon, which Maisie had not seen before, which I think made me a terrible parent because it's such a classic film. And yeah, we're going to give it a bit of a review. We are going to talk a little bit about the plot and the cast and visuals and music and things like that, and then we're going to let you know whether we recommend it or if it's a miss or if we really think you have to watch it. Yeah. So Armageddon, it was released in 1998. It doesn't have the highest scores, I think, on...
When I searched up, it came up with a lot of things bad with Armageddon and stuff. So I don't
know. Really? So yeah, I think it's got a 6.7 on IMDb. It's got a 38% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 42% on Metacritic. So hasn't got the highest reviews. However, what did you think of it, Maisie?
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
It wasn't it wasn't the best film I ever seen.
Disappointed. What do you think of it, Maisie?
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
It wasn't it wasn't the best film I've ever seen, but it wasn't the worst. It was somewhere in between, I guess.
Yeah, so the plot. We're going to start with the plot. What was Armageddon about?
It was about these... So there was a meteor coming to Earth, and they had 17 days?
Yeah, I think it was 17 days to begin with.
17 days.
Yeah.
And they had to... Their plan was to drill a hole in the meteor to put a bomb in, was it? Yeah. So then they needed people who knew about drilling and stuff. So then this guy called Harry came in. They asked for him and his friends and stuff because they did oil drilling. Okay, so they knew how to do it and stuff, and then they had to do it.
Right. Okay. So that's the basic summary of the plot. Obviously, in case anybody out there hasn't watched it, we're not going to give away too many spoilers. Obviously, this kind of led to a bit of a comedy-esque thing between the NASA astronauts and the drillers, because the drillers were
not. I don't know how to explain. Not serious and just not very. Not professional, but not professional at NASA and stuff.
Okay, so they had their they had all the, they all had their own kind of characters. Some of them were criminals, but they were good at what they did. Yeah. So that's in essence is the plot. So we're going to talk a little bit about the cast and the acting and how we felt about that. Should we start with Bruce Willis?
Yeah, I thought he was really good.
You like Bruce Willis?
Yeah, he was really funny, and I loved his relationship with AJ. I thought that was really good throughout the film.
Okay, so Bruce Willis played Harry Stamper, who owned the oil drilling company.
He's also the dad of Grace.
Grace Stamper, who's played by Liv Tyler, and AJ is Grace's love interest, who's played by Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck and Harry did not see... AJ and Harry didn't see eye to eye because the film basically starts with Harry coming into the room and AJ's room and finding out that his daughter has potentially spent the night there and proceeds to chase AJ with a shotgun.
And tried to shoot him.
So we had this comedy kind of relationship, and this is where we are maybe going to go a little bit into spoilers. Obviously, that relationship develops over the course of the film.
Goes like up and down quite a lot.
Yeah, so it starts off with Harry really being angry at AJ.
Hating
And
him,
how does Grace feel about that?
She's not very happy at all because, yeah, well, she loves him, so...
Yeah, she loves him. Yeah, absolutely. And then as the relationships develop, it turns out that Harry and AJ both have to go into space and land on this meteor and effectively drill. Now, does it all go to plan?
No.
No.
Many ups and downs.
Many ups and downs, many issues. NASA don't think they should send them, all kinds of things, which again plays into a lot of the comedy, I think.
Yeah.
So if we look at some of the other actors, we've got Steve Buscemi, who plays Rockhound.
Yeah, he's the guy from Monsters Inc., isn't he? The Scandal.
Randall.
Yeah, Randall.
He plays Randall, and many of you older people will know Steve Buscemi. He's been in lots and lots of films. Very good actor. How did you like his character?
I thought he was really funny. There were some bits where I was like, "What are you doing?" But then there were other bits where I was like, "That's hilarious." And he was definitely one of my not favourites, but I really liked him.
Yeah. So interestingly, Steve Buscemi actually claimed that the role of Rockhound, who's the character he plays, was pitched to him as a heroic geologist. So really knew about rocks and stuff, and he was going to be a bit of a hero. And he wanted to take that role because it kind of, he always plays low lives in films. I know you haven't seen him in too many, but even Randall in Monsters Inc., he's quite typecast with low lives. And after he got cast, they then wrote into the script these characteristics that were quite sleazy. There were some jokes about him potentially...
And he was really smart, like, he knew some stuff and I was like, what?
Oh yeah, he was smarter than the NASA people at one point. So he was very smart, but he was definitely kind of portrayed as being quite sleazy, maybe sleeping with girls who are, he shouldn't have slept with and stuff like that, and a little bit borderline, So they didn't necessarily... So it's interesting that he took that role on without that. But he was funny. He played the part well. Then we had Billy Bob Thornton. So Billy Bob Thornton was the guy from NASA who kind of oversaw the whole project, who couldn't go up to space because his leg was in that
thing. Yeah, him. Yeah. The one who was like kind of friends with, like, he liked the dad more than everyone else.
Yeah, he was. Like, it was his idea, wasn't it? And he was kind of backing everybody up. So he then kind of got into it with NASA, who didn't, believe him, didn't think these people could do it, and he really defended them. Do you think he played the role?
I thought he was really good as well. Yeah, there was a lot of I liked all the characters kind of clashing with the other characters, and he was the one who was kind of like
trying to hold it all together. Obviously, we had the amazing Michael Clarke Duncan, who played Bear.
He was good.
He's good in every film he's in, but...
Yes, sir, boss. Like to drink, only not spelled the same.
He was really funny though. I really liked him.
Mm-hmm.
He did a very good role of portraying. Is the daughter's name Grace?
Yeah.
Yeah, Grace is other dad kind of.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I thought he was really good. I really liked him.
Yeah, he was good. We had Will Patton, who played Chick. And this was the one whose son didn't know who he was. So I quite liked this. I thought this was something that didn't have to be in the film, but it kind of added to that emotional weight of what they were doing. And it was basically that Will Patton, that Chick, obviously hadn't been a good dad. It was quite clear. He turned up randomly when he knew he was going to have to go to space. He probably wasn't going to come home again. Yeah. So he turned up, and his ex said, "You can't just turn up here."
And said that when the sun came out, she was like, "Oh," he was like, "Who's that?" And then she was like, "Oh, it's just a salesman or something." Right.
Yeah. So obviously not. He could, there were some issues there, and he left his son a little spaceship, and he said, he said to the mum, "Well, look, just I'm on something big, and hopefully I'm gonna, I'm sorry for everything," kind of thing. We'll just do a few more people. So we had Owen Wilson.
I've seen him in films like Wonder. He's really good.
He's been in quite a few. He's been in quite a few comedy kind of films, and he definitely played a bit of a comic relief kind of role, didn't he? So definitely liked him.
He was one of those zen chill.
And yeah. He was trying to calm everybody down, but in a comic kind of way. And then I think the last one we'll talk about, just because you mentioned him, he was only in it a tiny little bit, but Eddie Griffiths. Gotta love Eddie. Right at the beginning, he was
the dog.
with the dog.
I thought he'd be a main character. I was so sad that he was I want to see more of him. I really liked him.
So this is, unfortunately, if we're talking about kind of movie history and trivia and stuff, in 1998 it wasn't that common for black comedy actors to get main roles in films like this, and understandably in certain ways, in comedy actors in general, but then you look at Owen Wilson, who's a comedy actor, and there was a few others there who are comedy actors, so this was a time where there was less black representation in films, and comedy was often what black people would be used for. Black people black actors would often be comic relief. They wouldn't be the main, hero or heroine, which we're still working on. So that was some of the cast. So we overall it was good, well cast. They fit the parts.
I thought they were really good. They
Yeah.
were better than I could have really. I couldn't really think of anyone else.
Yeah. We haven't spoken properly about Liv Tyler.
Oh yeah, I was.
We have to speak about her.
Yeah. She was really good. I loved her. She was so cool. I loved her. She was great. Yeah.
And she obviously was stuck in this little bit of a tension between her dad and her fiance by the time they flew up, and had to at the beginning she wouldn't call him dad. She called him Harry. So they went on a bit of an emotional journey, right?
Yeah.
So what was that about? What was their emotional journey about?
So, I don't think Harry was a really bad dad, but I don't think he was like the best he could have been.
Mm-hmm.
So like she was like, did she say that she was raised on the oil?
Yeah, she was raised on the rigs around Roughnecks.
All his friends were like kind of like her like second dads and stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought that was good. I'm glad that in the end they like got like as good as relationship as you can get when your dad's in space and you're on Earth. So
again, another spoiler alert here. Right at the end, how they have to draw. Basically, the bomb has malfunctioned, and one of them has to stay behind and detonate the nuclear warhead in the middle of the
straw thing. Whoever gets the straw.
So they drew straws, and it was AJ that drew the short straw, and Harry had promised Grace that he would bring AJ home.
But he also promised that he would come home.
What happened when they both? He said he'd walk him down.
Yeah, so he walked him down. Then like they both like kind of got out onto the meteor bit, and then he pushed him back in. And
so the dad Harry pulled the wire air thing out of his neck, so he had to push him back in, so he couldn't come and follow.
Yeah.
And essentially sacrificed himself, and we had that moment, that touching moment where he rang through. He was able to get a video call through to NASA headquarters and Grace.
Yeah, and he called him son as well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And he did. So he over the course of this, he realised that actually maybe AJ was better for his daughter than he realised.
I don't know. I thought AJ was going to like die at first.
Well, there was a few times where
I was like, I wasn't sure because I feel like one of them had to live, but for Grace, like, so I don't think they would have changed that in the script. But I also wasn't sure because it's like, well, your dad or your fiance, like, it's quite a hard thing. Like,
do you feel like they made the right decision in how that was weighed out emotionally and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like they're young and he's like old in a way, so you know.
So what you're saying is, if you get a fiance and then one of us has to sacrifice ourselves.
Like they have and he wants Grace to like be the happiest. Obviously with her dad dead, then she won't be like really happy. But like she had her wedding at the end and stuff. So I don't know. I kind of felt like I would have been not more sad, but I don't know. I would have felt I don't know.
And you did think for a little while. You said once Harry had gone down and he was on the asteroid, you were like, oh no, they're gonna find a way to get him safe.
Yeah.
So you thought that maybe everybody was going to be saved.
Which would have annoyed me because like the people. Oh, spoiler! The people who did die, like the other dads and stuff.
Yeah.
I was worried that they were gonna let Harry live, which I wouldn't have wanted because it's like
They needed to have that weight, that sacrifice, and that weight.
And it couldn't have just been them because they weren't main characters. So it's like they needed someone who was a main character who like everyone grew to love.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Then we'll move on to the visuals. So bear in mind this was made in 1998, which was 8 years before you were born. How do you think the visuals looked?
The graphics were like okay, but it wasn't really their fault that they couldn't like do better graphics because in that time they didn't have like the stuff that we have now. So it wasn't really their fault that they didn't have great graphics.
Do you think that impacted on the film?
Not like I feel like it. I don't know, not really, but it also like kind of did. Like if there were better graphics, I don't think that would have made it a whole like amazing film that everyone would have loved. Yeah. But I feel like it would have made it like the slightest bit better. But it wasn't like a massive thing where.
Bit more immersive and a bit more. I've got you. Yeah. Okay, music is one we're going to talk about. So the music, we'll get onto the main song in a minute. But in general, music, how was it?
It was good. Like there were dramatic music, I said dramatic points. I can't really remember the music too well apart from the end song. But I thought it was like good. Like I didn't think it was bad. I didn't like hear a song and be like, yeah, that doesn't really fit. I thought it was.
And that's what I think good music's about in a film. You don't really notice it. If you notice it, like if you notice it being wrong and being off and not fitting the mood, that's one thing. But if it's good music and it fits the feel of each scene, that's not a bad, like, to me that's good music, because you don't really remember it, it's just there and it sets the scene, but you don't really think that, oh, that tune was so amazing.
It makes you feel more like
apart from like, you know, it's immersive, rather than, you know, every now and again you get a film like the Harry Potters and Jurassic Parks and stuff that have this main theme song. Iconic. John Williams obviously does some amazing,
or like Game of Thrones and stuff like that.
Yeah, that kind of stuff, you know, those music, you know, they're really impressive. So, but obviously music wise, what we are going to talk about is the song.
The wedding song.
The wedding song at the end, so the wedding song at the end, which obviously, well, you weren't aware, but Aerosmith sang that song, and Aerosmith's Liv Tyler, her dad is one of the main singers in Aerosmith, or maybe the main singer. I'm not massively up together on Aerosmith, but it was a good song, right?
Yeah, it was like very. I feel like, I don't know. I can't remember it now, but like. It's like kind of like if someone like is talking about the film, then I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember the wedding song at the end. It's kind of like iconic, I guess. Yeah,
and I'm assuming that many people have had their first dance to "Don't Want to Miss a Thing." Do you know what I mean? And it's a great tune. It is. I would serenade you all now, but nobody wants to hear that at all. Okay, really quickly, we said there was a few little facts. So every time we do this, we're going to try and find a few little facts about the film. I've looked on the internet for these. Now we know not everything on the internet is 100% fact. However, I've looked, this is from IMDb, so hopefully it's got some validity to it. NASA actually uses this film during their management training program. New managers are given the task of spotting as many errors as possible. So far, at least 168 errors have been found in space travel and that kind of stuff.
That's cool though.
I think it is cool. Also, most of the time, film directors are not allowed to film in NASA. NASA is a very secret thing.
I thought they'd like, when I first saw the NASA thing, I was like, oh, I thought they'd do like, you know, something like NASA, but they wouldn't call it NASA. I was quite surprised that they actually did NASA.
So because it was quite patriotic, which means it's celebrating, in this case, American patriotism. We're American, we're going to save the planet and be American. Because of that, the producer actually persuaded NASA to allow Michael Bay, who directed it, and the company to shoot in normally the restricted space agency. It included the buoyancy lab, a 65 million gallon, 40-foot deep pool that's used to train astronauts. So that was actually in NASA.
Oh, that's cool. I thought they would have just made a set and then
so this was actually in NASA, and also the use of two $10 million spacesuits. The crew was also allowed to shoot the historic launch pad that went out of the service after the Apollo 1 disaster. So do you remember before they left, Harry and Grace were stood in a big old launch pad area, and it really quickly went onto a plaque that said this is the Apollo 1. I believe that Apollo 1 was a failed mission. It was and everybody died on the spaceship. It is, and I think that plaque was a bit of a commemoration kind of thing. Also, interestingly, Bruce Willis said that he didn't care for Michael Bay's directing style, and he's actually refused to work for him ever since. So we'll do it at the same time. We'll either go definitely, so 7, 8, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10, 5, 6, 7, or below 5. Okay,
so definitely, maybe, and no.
Yeah, so definitely worth a watch and miss it. Right, let's go. 1, 2, 3. So for me, it's difficult because I don't think this is necessarily an 8 out of 10 movie, but I just love it and I think it's so great. So I think nostalgia plays a big part for me. For yourself?
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
It was like in between, like, you know, the best film and the worst film. It was like in between. I wouldn't watch it. I would watch it because I really like the plot, the cast, the acting was all really like amazing, like really good. I wouldn't watch it because at point I was like a bit bored and I like went on my phone at some point. It's like
wow, that kind of wraps up our first Dadcast in review. It'll be me and Maisie doing this every 2 weeks. We're going to have another one coming up soon for Maisie's choice, which is
Two of the Boys I've Loved Before.
So I'm looking forward to seeing that for the
also,
first time.
Also, there's a book, so I'll be talking about the book as well.
There we go.
So that's amazing.
So we'll do that as well. So yeah, thanks very much for tuning in. You guys can find us on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter at Dadcast WTMD. Obviously, hopefully, if you're watching this, you found us on YouTube, which is Dadcast with the man them. If you're interested in supporting and becoming one of our Patreons, you can visit patreon.com/DadcastWTMD and find out a little bit more about what we do. We'd love it if you share this video, like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Thanks very much. Peace.
Bye.